So recently I've been reading a new book I've bought, and it actually just got published a few days ago. I think it got published on the 19th. It's called We Who Wrestle with God by Jordan B. Peterson. Now, I'm not religious, but I have been put off, so to speak, going into being religious, because for me it would be like a permanent thing, and I don't think I could ever become atheist again after becoming religious. So I felt a reluctance to turn to Christianity. However, I have been tempted to. Reading this book makes me realise humans would not be where they currently are technologically if it wasn't for religion. Because what Jordan Peterson explains in the book is God in the creation story created order out of nothing. Now, if you look at modern society, all it is order, standardization, uniformity. Everyone knows to drive on the left side of the road. Everyone knows to stop when the light's red and to drive when the light's green. Everyone knows to write in English if you can speak it, because we're in England. And it's these standardizations of communication and behavior which allow us to collaborate so effectively and consequently advance at the rate we currently are. If you look at the advancement of human civilization, you will come to the conclusion through your research or through looking at other intellectuals' opinion on the rate at which we are advancing, that we are advancing, we are accelerating. No, we are advancing at the fastest speed that we ever have in history. Because think about it, the time it took for us to not evolve, but to evolve our thinking and understanding, it's accelerated over the past 2,000, 3,000 years. Because if you look at every 100 years, you'll be able to see that every year it will get more and more. On average, it will get more and more meaty with the amount of stuff that happens. I know that's a weird choice of words. I couldn't find another way of explaining it, but the amount of stuff which happens in a century is way more. Now, I'm just thinking, you could argue that that's because the documentation of what happens is a lot more uniform and common and just standard practice, which is a valid point to bring up. But I still think the first point is valid. Because even if everything was recorded over history, still, the last few centuries we've been advancing faster and faster and faster. So that's us looking in the past. Can we extrapolate that model that we've created for the past for the future? Because if you were, the future is so unpredictable that theoretically you cannot prepare or organize yourself for what comes next. And that now gets into a bit of nihilism, which isn't good. But I'll give an example. It was either a clip or a whole podcast I watched where Joe Rogan was asking for advice, I think from Elon Musk, may have been from another guest, but he was asking, how are humans supposed to find purpose in life when machines and AI can do at least everything knowledge-based better than a human can? Because at that point, the whole knowledge work sector is completely defunct. Because if AI can do it better, you're useless to the beneficiary of the work of the AI or human in this instance. And outside of not having a job, it's simply just the visceral, uncomfortable truth that humans have to confront, that they aren't the best at what made them get in this position in the first place. Intelligence. Machine is now more intelligent than we are. So what are we supposed to do? And I think this is very closely linked to the growing apathy, especially among men, because a man's purpose is predicated upon his responsibility. In my opinion, I would feel like I have purpose and fulfillment if I had such responsibility where if I was to cease to exist, things would fall apart, because that means I would have value in a specific system, whether that's family, business, or anything else. I think simply man can get purpose and meaning by being needed. You need him. And increasingly in this modern day, both men and women are less needed in jobs, in intellectual work, academic work. Realistically, the only need that you will be able to provide for will be in the physical realm, where that's labour, that'll be carpentry, bricklaying, or anything else of that nature. However, at that point, you can't scale your job such that you are needed more. So if you are a bricklayer, you can only lay so many bricks. And because there's so many bricklayers, you will only have a certain level of worth. You may have a level of worth which is better than having none, but you can't scale that up. On the contrary, there's one specific sector of work. That was horrible wording. There's one specific area of work where humans, in my opinion, I think, will always remain above AI. To an extent, I think. You can't, because the future's so unpredictable, like I said earlier, you can't talk in certainties like this. That's with the assumption of we keep accelerating with our advancement, but away from that, I think that relatability between humans will be something that will be greatly monetized in the future. Because you can't relate to a machine. A machine can do better things than you, of course. It's a great thing at the end of the day for most people, or at least for the benefactors or the beneficiaries. I don't know what the right word is to use there. But relatability, and in this example, I'd say people telling stories about common issues everyone faces. And if I was to talk about a common issue of not being able to find work, having no meaning in your life, having no loneliness, having loneliness in your life, that is invaluable to other humans, because there's an intrinsic and innate instinct to grasp what someone like you is telling you. And if their experience is a spitting image of how you remember it, of your memory of that same circumstance, then your attention will be directed so that the person making that content will benefit from it. And you could say that's what I'm doing now with this YouTube channel. But this whole thing is extremely, well, I say long term, but you never know. Again, it's the unpredictability of the future. But of course, people on both extremes will garner more attention because that's how the algorithms work on the internet. But I do think there will need to be some specific, in fact, no, I'll phrase it like this. There will be a certain contingent of people who benefit greatly from the apathy, loneliness, lack of meaning, lack of fulfillment, lack of purpose, which will increase in culture, society. It may not on the surface, but on the foundation of society, whether that's shown in statistics like homicides or school shootings. I mean, you never know. There will be some metric which people aren't paying much attention to, but it will show, as I said, the growing apathy, loneliness, whatever the list is. It will increase as technology advances, as our primal needs are met, all in the same room: food, water, sex, shelter, comfortability, whatever. And I think the problem's only going to get worse. I'm trying to take a realist's approach to this, and through most cases, realism also is quite pessimistic because, of course, idealism is optimistic. You want, and the ideal is the best. It's the utopia. But I don't want to let this video get you down. But I'm taking a realist approach to this, if it sounds overly pessimistic. That's just my opinion though. I'd love to know yours if you have one. And if you understood what I was saying, please let me know in the comments, because sometimes in these videos I can ramble. This is all improvised, so I can just ramble and it may not make sense at times, but if you can let me know whether it's making sense or not, whether it is, please let me know. Thank you for watching, bro. I'll see you in the next one.